Hello, hope everyone's had a great day. And corporate communications firm that consults fintech, corporates, startups, financial institutions, and more. So, Fatma, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. And I'm, really happy to be here and to be part of the YouthTalk MENA talks. And I'm really excited to share my story. And I think this is a great initiative, and I can't wait.
Me too. This is so exciting. So, just before we jump in with the questions, would you like to tell us more about yourself and about Andra PR?
Sure. So I actually came back to Bahrain in 2015. Prior to that, I'd been living in SUNY Buffalo. I was doing my bachelor's there in mass communications. I really wasn't sure what major to take, to be honest. So I just thought, okay, I like talking to people. I wanted to communicate. I wanted to do campaigns. So everyone told me, why don't you try mass communications? And because I just wanted to put the point out there that nobody really knows what they want to do. So in New York City, in New York University, and I took PR and corporate comms over there. Um, and then I guess life takes you in some weird paths, and I never knew what the startup world was. And this is where I met some of the early entrepreneurs in New York City. In New York City, obviously, it's crazy, it's madness. I hated it and I loved it at the same time. I did a couple of internships in Wall Street, focused on marketing, of course. And then once I finished my master's, I had 3 months to work on my thesis, and I was kind of bored as well. So I was like, okay, maybe I should do something on the side. And that's where I kind of met some of the entrepreneurs from a startup called Kipin Hall. And I was literally plunged into the startup world, and I realized that this is the coolest thing ever. I met young people, bringing back, ideas into life. Sorry. So kind of like what I did first, at first, I didn't know what a startup was. I didn't know what you had to do. I was kind of doing it for fun. It was like a free internship. They told me, why don't you be our community manager? So pitching the ideas, coming up with new things from scratch, doing a lot of different activities. You kind of learn a lot about yourself. So this
Yeah.
is when I realized, damn, I wanted to do something like that. I wasn't sure what at the time. And came back to Bahrain, started a fintech startup, financial technology. At the time, we didn't have benefit. And I came back from New York, and everybody
Mhm.
was using Venmo at the time. So I thought, okay, this is my chance to start a startup to see how it would be like. And I partnered with two people from the US, and I started here in Bahrain. It was such a great journey. In some ways or form, I went through the entrepreneurial journey itself, and the path was great. It wasn't easy. Obviously, it was a lot of ups and downs. I learned a lot about the fact that I loved how startups work, and I learned a lot about myself as well, but I didn't feel I really missed PR as well. And I wanted to do public relations because that was my major. So I didn't know how to kind of pair the two together. And so basically, after that, I started Andra PR. I said goodbye to ValoPay for after 4 years. And people called that, whether it was like a failure or whether it was something of a transition. I always call it to be, it's kind of like, a necessary failure, let's just say. I did it. I liked it. There are things that I didn't like about it. And then I realized that I liked financial technology. So that was kind of the goal of doing that. The silver lining of finally understanding why I went through all these 4 years. And I started Andra PR. So Andra PR is a public relations based Bahrain-based agency, but it's very niche. And we only work with financial technology clients. So here I think I kind of like realize that this is what I've been doing. I like financial technology, I like PR, so I put the both together, and now we have Andra PR.
That's great. It's really brilliant. And I like how you mentioned you weren't too clear about what to do in the beginning, but you slowly went into a direction where you knew exactly what you wanted to do, what you love doing, and that
Yes.
was mass communication and everything else that you're doing right now.
I like
Amazing.
I like hearing people that weren't so sure. I mean, it's realistic, Not
Yeah,
a lot of people know. There, some people, if you ask
exactly.
them like what they're passionate about, they're not going to answer you with a straight answer, or they'll just take
Exactly.
something that everybody else is doing. But that's why you're young, right? You need to go through
Yeah,
different phases, and it will click one day.
yeah. Agree with you on that. So moving on to the next question. So you said that you started Entrepreneur, I guess, back in 2018. Could you
Yes.
talk about your journey so far and how you've grown, not only as a business, but as the CEO and the founder?
Sure. Actually, I remember it's been 2 years, but 2 years before that, I was sitting on a couch and I wanted to resign
Mhm.
from my full-time job. I realized I used to work for a global PR company, and I used to head the Bahrain office here. And then I realized I couldn't grow further. I wanted to do much more, and I had not better ideas. I don't want to say better, but I had more ideas that I wanted to implement, and I just felt like I was stuck. And then I told myself, well, I do have all the skill sets. Let me just, send an email, quit, and start Andra PR. And Andra PR, December 2018 is when I finally paid for my CR license and figured out, okay, Fatum, you did the step, you're on your own now. This is your own company. It took me such a long time to understand the fact that I'm running my own company. And I even onboarded my friend. I told her, hey, she just left the job at the time. I'm like, do you want to join me and kind of help me out? This is a new venture that I'm doing. I'm looking for people. The person had no experience in PR whatsoever, but I always like people that were interested to explore other areas. So we kind of paired up. And financial technology, everyone tells me, oh, it's a very limited industry, but I didn't think it was limited at all. I think it's booming right now. This is the place that we need to be in, especially Bahrain being a financial harbor, a financial hub, not the financial harbor, being a big financial hub has all the potential to kind of be thriving in that ecosystem. And I liked financial technology. I felt like it was vast. There were new technologies, new softwares, new regulations happening all the time, and I wanted to be a part of that. And we didn't have a PR company in Bahrain that just focused on financial technology, even though we had a lot of companies setting up here and a lot of startups in Bahrain coming up with new solutions and ideas. And then honestly, I remember the first day, the first client, and from there it kind of was like a domino effect. We started building up our name, knocking on a few doors, and we've had the first year we've had about 15 plus clients, which I'm really, really grateful for. This year, I won't lie, it's been a really, really tough year. And a lot of people, I wanted to tell people, don't lie about this year. Mention that you've struggled, mention that you've lost some clients. We've lost a lot. We've gained a lot of new projects as well. We've faced some times where the team was very agitated with the other. But I'm very grateful about being, one, surviving this whole COVID-19, being here and being resilient. And I'm very happy about how us as a team have handled it. We did lash out on each other a few times. We were kind of angry with the situation, but we realized that, we've done a good 2 years and I cannot wait for the third year. So I hope that sums up kind of my journey here.
Yeah, inshallah, I hope you keep having a great journey. And yes, this year has been tough for most of the businesses going on. So I wish you all the best with that as well. I like how you mentioned that you need to realize and then work from there on solutions of what you can do, especially with your team. So that's something admirable that you said there.
Thank you so much, Amira. Thank you. It wasn't hard at all. It wasn't easy, sorry, at all. But with time, you get to understand how you as a person is growing and how you should tackle things. We're human beings at the end of the day, so you kind of have to take the bull by its horns as you can, as much as you can.
Great. So before we get into the next question, and for those that want to know what fintech is, could you give us a brief about what it is and why it's starting to become an important aspect of our world today, especially with innovation?
Sure. So the easiest way to describe fintech or define it is if you put finance and technology together. So in our daily lives right now, things have changed. The way we shop, the way we eat, the way we pay for things, the way we order our food, it's all coming to, it's gone through phases. And now, especially in COVID, you've seen this. We've been sitting in the comfort of our own homes and we have applications to do things. You want to pay for something, you have a different app. You want to pay your friend, you want to split a bill, you also want to do healthcare, for example. There's health tech, there's regulation technology, there's insurance and technology coming together. So it's really simplifying the way that you do everyday things and the way that you pay for them. So this is really what fintech is. And I think it's quite important, especially in COVID. You've seen a lot of people come out there and come up with new solutions as well. And what I really like to focus on as well is having more women representation within the financial technology sector. A lot of people think, oh, fintech is just about finance, but it's not. It's coming up with viable solutions for the everyday person. So if you're, for example, with benefit, before you had benefits, what could you do? How has benefit pay, for example, changed your life? You can pay your friend from the comfort of your own home. You can pay your bills online. You get discounts. You can also pay for gas at the gas station. So this is really what it's basically infusing technology in the financial aspects of everyday life. So this is really what fintech is, and we've been working with a lot of amazing things. Because even the way that we bank, for example, if you go to a bank right now, and Ella Bank is a great example of that as well. If you go to a bank right now, they need to know your experiences. They need to know how you are as a person, your preferences, what you want to save for, what is the most important thing for you. Is it family? Is it retirement? So basically, all of these things are very important. And we have different entrepreneurs that are coming up with new solutions just to tackle the different difficulties that we have. Oh, Alex is with us actually. Yay. So Alex is my colleague.
Okay, great to have him here too.
Awesome. Cool.
Okay, so do you think that with the number of opportunities we have today, and with the greater amount of support compared to before, at least for the youth community, is enough to justify that we are capable of doing and maybe even being a part of the entrepreneurial and the fintech industry in particular?
Oh, of course. I mean, this is the best time to do anything, to be honest. But especially Bahrain being such a
Mhm.
small island, we have a lot of entities that are pushing the youth to be a part of everything. You have Startup Bahrain, you have Bring Batilco, you have the Bahrain
Yeah.
FinTech Bay, and there's a lot out there. The Women in FinTech Bahrain Initiative as well. So I feel like entrepreneurs now are at the forefront. Our country, our government is pushing the youth to be a part of our economy and its major decisions as well. And if you think about it, also 70% of Bahrain are the youth. So we are the future, and we have to be capable, and we have to make the decisions right now. And I feel like you said with the first question with age,
Mhm.
I don't feel like Bahrain makes us feel like you're too old to start this, or you're too young to be making all these major decisions. I feel like we're all coming together to build the solutions in any way that we can. So what you feel you can bring to the table, then bring it to the table. You don't have to, compare yourself to other people as well. But I feel like we know how the world is right now. We've been through a lot of phases. We've seen a lot more than the previous generations as well. Obviously, the previous generations can help us in what they've known before,
Right.
tackling problems at that time. But right now, we have to solve the major everyday problems that our older generations can't, and we have to come together at some point. So this is the youth time. This is the perfect time, and I feel like
Mhm.
everywhere you go, every day there's a new initiative. Every day there's a new event. There are new studies. There are new, and even the way that we study is different. So
Yeah.
universities now are focusing on entrepreneurship. They're doing a lot of extracurricular things, and people don't even opt for 9 to 5 jobs anymore. So there's also flexible hours, knowing that, hey, I'm going to be working this job, but they have to understand that I might be doing something on the side as well. So all of this is really shifting. So this is definitely our time for sure.
All right. Thank you. That was a great answer.
Thank you.
Great. So we know it's never easy to begin, and you mentioned that as well in the beginning, let alone to follow our dreams and what we're passionate about. And oftentimes we give up on them thinking that it just wouldn't work out. But what usually determines that it wouldn't, and how can we eliminate those factors? What do you think is holding many people back from even trying?
This is such a great question. And it's a question that I really like. It really hit the spot because
Mhm.
I think the problem is, well, I think we should not package success
Mhm.
because that's what we do. When I say package it, for example, I'm 30 now, I can start. I should have started when I was 20. Oh, it's too late to do this now, because we have this kind of
Yeah.
stringent idea of how success should look like, right? The 24/7 hustle, or the young prodigy, or he had the perfect career progression. We're too scared to start because we feel that we need to actually have that narrative that everybody else is following, or else we'll never make it. And I've always thrown that narrative out of the window ever since I was young, but not a lot
Mhm.
of people have the courage to do that. And I think I've surrounded myself with people that they always said things like, "Oh, just do it. Who cares? Just
Yeah.
see how it goes. Oh, whatever. What's the worst that's gonna happen?" But if I had people around me that were like, "No, you need to be cautious. You can't start. What if you fail? What if you do something embarrassing? oh, no, you're too old. You need to do this. You need to focus on that. I never had that. So I guess it's really the perfect thing and the beauty of entrepreneurship is that you can create your own recipe for success and in your own way.
Mm-hmm.
Because innovation and entrepreneurship doesn't really have a 1, 2, 3 guide. Everybody's journey is different. And you can, I've seen people fail 5 times and then really hit the jackpot at the sixth time. I've seen people that have never, never been successful and then realize that corporate life is something that they should stick to, and that's the way of their stability. It's really different across all borders. But I really think you should take the plunge. And how do you know that you're not?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know that you're ready and if that you're going to succeed? You really don't at the
Yeah.
beginning, but you start to figure it out after. If people are wanting to use what you're making, if you're changing someone's life and they come to you and say, hey, because of your solution, my life has been easier, or because of you, I feel like I've gained a role model and I could do other things. So the impact really comes from other people around you and your community. You will get to see if
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing is making that impact. But take the plunge, knock on some doors. I've had people start at 40, and
Yeah.
everyone has different priorities. You don't, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you don't have to give up on family life. You don't have to give up on traveling. You don't have to give up on things. You don't have to show people that you're up at 4 a.m., scribbling down some notes and having your epiphany then. You could work 3 hours a day. And if those are your best 3 hours, then it works for everybody. So create your own recipe, and I think that's the best thing about this journey. You can really be creative about it, and nobody can tell you that it's right or wrong, because there is no right and wrong.
Again, wonderful answer. And like you said, it's kind of like all about the mindset of the person, and being surrounded more with positivity, and even ignoring. There are people that are going to say that no, it's not going to work out, or it might not just work for you. So instead of like listening too quickly, realize maybe it could work out. There's always a maybe with success or
Exactly.
failure. Yeah.
And like you said, that maybe can change your life. Even if you don't succeed in what you're doing, at least you can go back and tell people that I've tried, and because I've tried, I've learned so much. I've met so many
Mhm.
amazing people. And I think life is like that. You need to include some of the maybes, because that's what makes life exciting. Whether you're 30, 40, whether you're 17, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Just start what you wanted to do and just see how it plans out. I think it's exciting to see how the adventure is going to go.
Exactly. So moving on, in one article by the Fintech Times, I believe, you were asked to give advice and recommendations to future female entrepreneurs and thought leaders based in the Middle East and African region. You mentioned the following: creating a niche for yourself, educating yourself when you can, connecting with people who are not afraid to take risks, and you mentioned that again today, and creating your voice within the community. All of them are wonderful points worthy of mention, but I'd like to hear from you on the last one, which is to create your voice within the community. How do we do that?
Great. Well, I'll give you some specific practical tips. So, and I tell this to everybody. For example, let's just say I'll take the PR industry example. You studied PR, you've taken your degree, public relations is your passion, and suddenly you find yourself in a job and you're working 24/7 on all these amazing campaigns. You're learning a lot of the insights, the lessons, and you've meeting a new clients, consumer behavior. So you have all this experience bottled up. So I think of
Mhm.
it as a jar with all your previous years in this one big jar. What can you take out of that jar to contribute to the
Right.
community? Let's just say you have other women that come to you, hey, I would love to get into PR, but I'm really scared. I don't know what to do with it. So you're going to have to open up your jar and kind of teach them, right? But
Yeah.
in the community, what can you do to the community to contribute? I wrote a lot of articles. So let's just say I went to, we're going to use, for example, there's some business and entrepreneurial magazines in Bahrain. I came up to them and said, hey, I realized that, for example, you're focusing on a new industry. Why don't you focus on public relations? A lot of women are looking to get into that sector. I have a lot of experience. I would love to write some articles, just sharing some of my advice and some of my stories on the PR industry. So that's one way. You start writing articles. You start
Mhm.
looking at some of the platforms that you have in Bahrain, especially online, offline, not just Bahrain. I'm just using this as an example.
Yeah.
And you start sharing some of your experiences so that other people can have access to that. Another way in the community as well, be a mentor. um, if you think you're good at what you do and you've been through all these years of experience, mentor people that are in need of that experience, because a lot of, and even have coffee. Mentorship doesn't have to be something so stringent.
Yeah.
You can just tell people, hey, if you want a 1 hour coffee with me to learn more about the PR industry, I'd be happy to, give 30 minutes or an hour, have coffee and just talk to you about what you should be doing, what industry should be focusing on, how is PR changing. So that's a second thing that I've done. I've also been the kind of person that if there's any major events happening within the country, I'd like to, put myself forward as a speaker, or maybe just as an attendee, but help them, for example, share some of my insight, ask the right questions. So when I say create a voice in the community, contribute, get out your jar, see what you can do. If you're good at writing, then write some blogs. If you're good at speaking, maybe opt to be a speaker for one of the events. If you're good at mentoring, then be a mentor for some of the accelerators and incubators in Bahrain. So yeah, create your voice slowly, know what you can contribute, how you can contribute, write down a list, have a list ready. I did that as well. I'm like, okay, these are
Yeah.
the magazines that I want to reach out to. These are the events coming up. What can we do? If you're a startup, for example, if for Youth with MENA, because you have all these, amazing stories, and you have all these people sharing all their wonderful experiences. Then, for example, you can partner up with another platform to kind of share all of these on a bigger level. You can even take some of what I'm saying today and put them in an article and share them with
Yeah.
other, talk platforms in the region. So this is really what it means to create your voice. You pick and choose what you can contribute to, and then you kind of find the right platforms to put them out there.
Okay. So we usually close off with the same question. And so for the final one, I would like to ask you, what would your advice be for the youth?
My advice is do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to do the wrong things, because sometimes the wrong things will lead you to your ultimate goal and you won't feel it at the time. And sometimes failure is the best thing that will ever happen to you. So, my advice is really knock on some doors. Don't be scared to be yourself as well. And when people tell me to be yourself, to be myself, it was always a very confusing question. I didn't know what that meant. I'm like, what do you mean be myself? Are there steps to that? Like, I don't even know who I am. Like, how am I going to be myself if I wasn't sure? But that really meant is to really deconstruct who you are. What are you good at? What do you like? What are you passionate about? And even if you don't know what you're passionate about, what are some of the everyday things that you do that make you different than everybody else? Thrive on those. Those are the things that make you who you are. And don't copy paste anybody else's journey, because trust me, even if you do that, it will change. It will not
Yeah.
stick to the script. So you might as well have fun. And anything that you do in life, have fun. Celebrate everything. I mean, my colleague knows this as well. Anytime we got our first client, we'd go and get a slice of cake. We did a really good presentation. We'd take a break and then we'd play some games in the office. Anytime that I wanted to reflect on the things that I've been doing, I'd write myself a letter. So celebrate your small wins. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Know what makes you different than other people, because that's really your unique selling point right there. And a lot of people don't appreciate that. And take the plunge, take the risks. The worst case scenario is have a few people maybe make fun of you. You won't die.
Yeah.
You're not gonna, people forget and they move on. You can do something new, and complete, and you'll find with time, you'll forget all the stupid mistakes that you've done, and every mistake will lead you to do something better in the long run. So really take the risks, know who you are, and don't be scared, because the worst case scenario is that you'll still be alive, you'll still be kicking, and you could do better things.
Yeah, brilliant answer. And yeah, it's
Thank you.
very important to do what you love and, take risks. That is a major thing. And I think also with the other speakers we've had, they've mentioned this several times. Um, so yeah, it is very important to take risks because we don't know whether it's going to turn out great, or even if it's going to fail, it could lead to maybe a better experience. With that experience, you could do something better maybe in the future. So
Exactly.
yeah.
I wanted to add one more thing as well, before we close. If you don't take risks, and if you've done
Mhm.
everything in life so perfectly, 100%, that's really boring.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
exactly, I mean, there would be no variations, there would be no adventures, there would be no different ways of doing things. We might have as well been robots, in Terminator. So
Exactly.
that's why I'm saying the risks are what makes life fun. So everyone create your own little mix and see where it goes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Fatma.
Oh, Meghna, thank you so much. I had a great time. I actually had fun doing this interview, and I really can't wait to see how it goes. And I hope that it helps a lot of the younger people watching this. And I really wish Youth Wave MENA Talks a lot of luck and a lot of success. I know that a lot of people would love to see all the stories and kind of have that push, you know, and this is one step of it.
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your amazing words and for your encouragement as well. Actually, at Youth Wave MENA, or for me personally, what I like doing is just basically motivating others to tell their story, or it could be anything. I've actually ever since I started this initiative, there were a couple of the young people that came up to me and said, "Could I really, like, could I actually use your platform to speak?" And I'm like, "Of course, you're welcome." So
Wow.
so that's actually a really great thing about the whole initiative, because people are actually they want to start something now, and they want to speak as well. So I'm glad I'm doing
No,
that.
that's amazing. I'm glad. I'd definitely be open to helping you get more speakers on the platform as well. And if you need anything, excited to collaborate and partner for anything that you would need. I really treasure these kind of initiatives, and I can tell from your character that you are that passionate and driven person. So this is a perfect first step, and we can't wait to support the other and collaborate. If you need anything, we're always there.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Umayma, and a happy holidays in advance and a new year to you. And I can't wait to see this when it goes live. Thank you so much for taking the
Great.
time.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.